Hey everybody, what is going on? This is OrvieWoah bringing you another Call of Duty gameplay. And today we're going to be talking about the best ways that you can achieve perfect aim, or at least the best aim that you are capable of in Modern Warfare 2. We've covered this in a lot of other older videos, but it's been a while since I've made one, so I thought it might be helpful for some. There's a lot of different things you can do to really affect this, and so we'll just jump right into it. The number one thing I think that can help or hurt any player is your sensitivity, and I see a lot of people getting this wrong, or at least trying to do too much with this. Sensitivity, you'll see a lot of like just crazy cracked players out there running 2020 or max, whatever, and for some people, you know, you can make it work, but it's not necessarily something that you want to strive for necessarily individually. Sensitivity is a very, very individual type thing. I don't think you'll see anyone on the actual CDL pro circuit running anything at that high, like max level. Almost all of them are in the 3, 4, 5, like 6 area, and then a lot of them are on the lower end of that. And so what I would say is for most people, for 90% of people, especially if you're watching this video, lower is probably better. And the best way that I've found to kind of figure out where you need to be is just play a couple games. If when you're snapping to people you tend to keep missing right or left and you're overcorrecting, then lower your sensitivity. I would say start at around a 4 or a 5 and just kind of play around with it. If and the big deal here is a lot of times if you've been playing on higher, you're going to feel like, oh, I can't turn, I can't get to these people. That is probably an issue with your centering. If you have really good centering and you have good game awareness, then you're going to already have your crosshair where people will need to be a lot of times, and so you won't have to correct as much, and the lower sensitivity works. If you have bad game awareness and you're not sure, you're always kind of got people behind you, it's going to be hard to run a lower sensitivity. But I would say work on your game awareness before cranking that sensitivity up to fix it. A couple of other just settings that I would recommend on your aim assist, I would select Black Ops aim assist, and one thing that you absolutely do need to be running regardless of who you are is dynamic on your response curve. It's just better. Essentially every pro has talked about how it's better, and almost to the detriment of Call of Duty. A lot of them feel like it's over exaggerating people's skills, so dynamic response curve is something that you absolutely need to have. One other setting you can play with is your FOV. If you're a Warzone player, then you're probably used to running like 120 maxed all the way out. We have that ability to do that on this for console and on PC, but on multiplayer, most people run lower. I think Scump said he runs 103, Shotzi's at like 105. That's around the area I run at. If you feel like you're having trouble seeing people or getting locked onto people, then I would definitely try to lower that FOV a little bit. It's going to give you a bigger target, easier target to hit. If you just feel like you're always getting shot from the sides and not seeing people, then you can crank it up a little bit higher. But that's really the best thing I can say about that. Lower FOV is going to give you a bigger target. The best thing to do to practice to get your aim better, if you feel like your settings are all pretty good but you're just still not where you want to be, the best practice you can do is by shooting bots. Now, one of the bad things about Modern Warfare 2 right now is there's no area for you to do this really, as far as setting up a custom game where you can just load in and shoot bots. If you do have Modern Warfare 2019, then you can absolutely do it in that. It's going to feel very similar to this. That'll let you get some practice in that way. Aim Trainer, the application, is also really good. You can find it on the Steam store. I think it's free. It may be like $5 or something. It's also apparently coming to consoles pretty soon, which will be very helpful, especially if Modern Warfare 2 doesn't ever end up giving us an area to work on shooting bots. I imagine that will end up coming. But right now, there's nothing in-game to where we can do that, where we're alone with nothing else going on. So Aim Trainer is very good. That you can look in there. There's a ton of different players that have their own like playlists of training sessions in there. Skunk has his own that you can just go through and warm up with. But essentially, you just want to go into a private game, put in a bunch of bots, set it to whatever health, whether you're working on multiplayer or Warzone, and then just play and shoot and really try to focus on shooting more towards the head. That's something else that I was going to cover as well. Aiming higher is almost always better in every situation. I am very bad about aiming kind of stomach level and then end up sometimes getting a little too low on that. It's much better. If you're going to die either way, I would rather miss near the head than miss near the stomach or feet. you just have that better chance, especially on these newer CODs. The headshot multiplier is insane on these things. So if you're shooting more towards the head, every once in a while you're just going to get one that you shouldn't have got, and if you're shooting more towards the stomach, you're not going to get it. It's just how it's going to work. So start aiming a little higher in your practice. The last thing I want to talk about are peripherals. There's a lot of different things you can buy to help your aim. I would make all of these my last resorts. There are things that can help, but I would spend zero money until I feel like I've exhausted all other areas. Few things that actually do work a little bit. Control freaks are excellent. You can also, if you've got a custom controller, you're building a custom controller, you can set your sticks to be taller. Then you don't have to buy the control freaks. You can do either way. Get normal sticks with control freaks or higher sticks without. Whatever you feel like works better. But it will give you a little more control. The taller your sticks, the less you have to move them to aim, and it just lets you have a little more precision in your control. One other thing that Control Freak makes is called a precision ring. This is really kind of a backward, not a backwards thing, but it's a thing that if you're running high sensitivity, you can put the precision ring on, and it will make it feel like a lower sensitivity. To me, I feel like it's something that I would just rather run the lower sensitivity, but it's kind of gives you a medium ground, a middle ground, to where you can have the high sensitivity up. As you're moving slowly and just kind of aiming normally, it feels like a low sense. But if you really need to crank it for a turn, you just push through the ring and you get your full, like, say 20/20, whatever. It is one thing that I think can work if you want to try to run higher sensitivity but still be accurate. They make 3 different levels. They make like a soft, a medium, and a hard, I think is what they call it. They're decent. They're decent. Now you do have to watch. They won't fit on certain controllers, so you need to read and see which ones they match up with before you go spending your money. None of those things are very expensive, but just I always like to recommend fixing all this kind of stuff without spending money any chance that you get. If you can aim on a base PS4, PS5, Xbox controller, then you can aim on anything, and that's all that really ends up mattering. That's pretty much all I have for making your aim better in this game. It's very similar to a lot of other games, and we have less to worry about now without the slide canceling and everything, so you can focus a little more on it. If you have any tips of your own, I would love to hear those in the comment section. I also love to know what sensitivity you're all running. If you don't mind, just put that in the comments. I'd like to kind of get an idea of what everyone else is doing. Anyways, that's about everything I've got for this video. Remember, if you do enjoy it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all those things. They really help a lot for the channel, and we're trying to get this thing back growing again as we were a few years ago. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.